So, Godzilla Minus One has finally released for home services, including Vudu, aka Fandango, Amazon Prime Video, Microsoft Movies and TV, Apple TV or iTunes, and a few other services. The thing is, there's a few caveats to all this that make it a little less than spectacular. Of course, I forgot Netflix, but even then, just the mere fact that everything was shadow dropped, essentially, meaning no real build-up. I don't understand why, for a movie that was so hailed as such a landmark moment in the franchise, that it wasn't given any sort of build-up whatsoever. And on top of that, it was released through Netflix as opposed through Amazon, which was a bit surprising considering it seemed that Toho had made a deal with Amazon to release a home version of it through that service. So to have it released through Netflix instead internationally was a little bit of a surprise. But on top of not really giving it the marketing that it really needed, because obviously they did a lot of marketing for the theatrical release, whether it was here or in any other country where it was actually released, as well as the home release of the Japanese version of the movie, which of course they got the physical version of the movie. They had a lot of marketing for that. But here, I would assume that there's still a lot of people who either enjoyed the movie or didn't even get a chance to see it, who don't even know that it's been released on Netflix, let alone other video-on-demand services. So I actually find that a little bit concerning. But that's not actually the most concerning part of these releases. Not a lot of people want to subscribe to a service just for one movie. To me, that in a lot of ways doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, Netflix is the only way to watch Godzilla Minus One dubbed. So maybe it's because Netflix did the dubbing themselves. Or maybe there's some sort of an exclusivity agreement between Netflix and Toho, which allowed them to release the dub. But you can't buy the movie through any video-on-demand services dubbed at all. So that's a bit disheartening. And in fact, no websites that I have seen have actually reported accurately this fact. You actually had to go to X and the official Godzilla Toho page, and you scroll down a little bit to where they were talking about how Minus One is now available through Netflix, and you click on this link, and I've already copied the link, so I'm just going to switch pages here. And what it does is it tells you that Minus One is dubbed on Netflix but subtitled through all other services. In fact, it says so about the third paragraph down. So a lot of people read the fact that it was dubbed on Netflix and just automatically assumed it was going to be dubbed everywhere else as well. But the only version of the movie you can actually purchase here in the United States is the subtitled Japanese audio version of the movie. I know there's a lot of purists out there that think, oh, well, that's no big deal, or, you shouldn't be complaining about something so trivial. But at the same time, the only reason, or at least the biggest reason why movies exist is to entertain. And if a person is not getting the most out of a movie because a certain option doesn't exist, especially when it exists elsewhere, then to me that's a dropped ball. So again, I don't know if this is an exclusivity deal with Netflix, and if it is it timed or is it permanent? Only time will tell on that one, and most likely we'll find out the full truth as to whether it's a timed or permanent exclusivity deal with Netflix once the physical version of the movie is finally released stateside. And I can only assume that it's going to be released stateside because, again, there's been no news about it. I wouldn't expect there to be another shadow drop of a physical release, but then again, you don't know. But the other caveat that I find with the digital purchase of the movie is that, as far as I can tell, there are only 2 services that offer the movie in 4K. I find that to be another huge dropped ball by Toho and whoever is helping them distribute the movie. Amazon Prime Video is only HD. Apple iTunes is 4K. Google Play, HD. Microsoft Movies and TV, HD. Fandango Now / Vudu is full 4K. All the others, also HD. So, I have a feeling that there were a lot of people who ended up purchasing the movie outright, thinking it was going to be the absolute top tier that they could possibly watch the movie, and not realizing it was only high definition. Now, the black and white, aka minus color, is only high definition on all services, but the regular color version of the movie is 4K only on Vudu and Apple iTunes. Everything else is just regular high def. So keep that in mind. If you're deciding that you want to purchase the movie, only 2 services allow you to purchase it in full 4K. And if you want to watch the movie dubbed, the only way to do that is through Netflix, which is extremely sad to me because I really wanted to buy the movie outright without putting in that subscription. I tend to only subscribe to Amazon Prime Video and Max right now because those 2 have the most variety and most value. Netflix has lost a lot of value for me over the years. So now I'm probably going to go ahead and get a 1-month subscription to Netflix with the 4K option, which unfortunately is more expensive than the movie itself at $22 and change. I'm not really liking the idea of doing it, but I want my family members to be able to enjoy the movie with me, and right now this is the only way to do it. If you want my opinion, though, the only real way to enjoy this movie fully is if you've already watched the movie, know what the characters are saying ahead of time, and just go ahead and plunk down the money that you need to for the 4K release from Japan. Those discs are universal discs. They are not region encoded, so you can watch them on any device that you want to. And you get a nice box set. So I would also suggest getting at least 1 digital version of the movie, just for convenience sake. But at the end of the day, I'm really disappointed in the overall handling of this release. It should have been marketed. It should have been really built up. I mean, this is the first Godzilla movie in 70 years to have ever won an Academy Award. And it almost blindsides everybody. That's not fair to the Godzilla character, and that's certainly not fair to the fan base that supports it. I'm not one to complain about the Godzilla franchise as a whole, especially considering that for the most part it's a very niche corner of the movie market, especially when you consider it's a sci-fi movie through and through, a sci-fi franchise. I mean, I had no complaints about anything regarding Shin Godzilla. I mean, that was expected. it was actually better than expected when they released it. But for Minus One to be treated in this manner, to just shadow drop it out of nowhere with no marketing, no heads up. And the only reason I have the videos out that I do before this one is because there was a website called When to Stream that posted it was likely going to be dropping June 1st. And it's a niche little website that not many people know even exists. I read about it on their Twitter/X page, and no other big websites had mentioned anything, so I was taking that with a grain of salt. I had no idea that it would end up being true. But, nobody big reported on it. There was no marketing. There was nothing. So, now, I don't think that we can expect the same treatment if they really are going to release a physical copy of this movie in the future, and I hope they do. But it sounds like Toho really wants to take advantage of the streaming market here because they realize it's getting bigger and bigger over here than it is in other countries, which is the whole reason why Netflix has this movie in the first place, let alone the video on demand copies of the movie. I just wish that a little bit more forethought would have been planted, and the only reason I can think for the shadow drops in the first place is because, like I said in previous videos, Godzilla Minus One became the most pirated movie of all time just a few weeks ago. So, that's a lot of movie money left on the table to not take advantage of, to not market it, but at the same time, to release the movie in only one country and not all the others, knowing that there were going to be people in your home country that were going to put the movie out there for the rest of the world to watch. That's other money left on the table. They should have done a simultaneous release and avoided all of this. But unfortunately, that's what happens when you live in the internet age. Everything's going to fall to pot if you don't time things correctly. So, with that being said, I still suggest that we support this movie to the best of our ability. I personally am going to only get Netflix for 1 month. I'm going to see if there are any programs out there that will allow me to transition the English copy of the movie to a MP4 that I can keep forever. But I'm still going to support the movie with digital purchases as well as the physical copy of the movie should it ever release. But there's no way I'm going to try to force the regular Japanese language version of the movie on people that don't want to see it in that manner. So if there are any programs out there, I plan to try to use it while I have the full month and see what I can do with it. I've got family members that don't even have internet, so I'm sure that they would like to see it in English. So, anyway, support the movie if you can. Like and subscribe. I plan on putting out more content as more information becomes available. And, of course, the other content that I've talked about before, the humor, potential politics, and things of that nature. So, I'll see you all on the next run. Bye.